Hi, my name is Mike and welcome to my vlog about football in general and Burnley FC in particular. A vlog that this week was accused of spending its entire 4-year history slagging off Scout Parker. First off, that means it started 2 years before he joined the club, and I'm that good. And second, well, it's going to continue this week. But before we get to that, and it was kind of like, talking about transfers, that's where I was going to go with it this week. I wasn't at the Sunderland game, I listened to it. Phil Bird sounded like he was commentating on a funeral, can't really blame him. I was going to talk about transfer business in general. First off, I suppose we kind of like start off on a happy-ish note. And the news that Manuel Benson has left the club for Maccabi Haifa in Israel. Obviously that's not great news, but the happy part of it is the memories that Manuel Benson leaves behind. The man will never have to open a door in Burnley again because he won the league at Ewood, because there was that purple patch. I mean, he only made 50 appearances, I think. But there was that purple patch where he scored the same goal 4 times in a row. There was the goal against Reading. There was the goal against Rotherham. Regular watchers of this vlog will know that I talk a lot about how football makes you feel, about entertainment, about the happiness, the joy, the ups, the downs. And whenever you mention the name Manuel Benson to any Burnley fan, you will always get that smile. Remembering what he did for the club. That moment, they were few and far between. Well, no, actually, they weren't far between. They all happened around about this, fairly short notice. But even 10, 15 years from now, if you say Manuel Benson, you'll still get that smile from people. Because that is what he did. He entertained us, he gave us incredible memories, and I wish him all the best. It's a shame it didn't really kick on, but we'll kind of come to that a little bit, because I think he was a victim of the transfer policy. The transfer policy that's been a bit of a mess for a few years now. None more exemplified by the leaving of Hannes Delcroix. Now, there's a guy who played not very many games for Burnley, but he kind of exemplifies the mess that the transfer policy got itself in the company's second season, the one before we got into the Premier League, where basically we were buying every winger under the sun when we had a glaring need for left back. And if I remember rightly, Delcroix came in. This is a guy who played, I think, 50 games in the Belgian top league over 6 years and about 20-something in Holland. We needed a left-back. He was generally a centre-back, but he played, say, 70 games in Holland and Belgium. We bring him in and we stick him at left-back against Manchester City. And then he goes and fails. Of course he's going to fail. I mean, I think he was signed on the Friday. Was it the Friday? No, we played on the Friday. I think he was signed on the Thursday, dropped into the squad, into the first team against Manchester City, the champions, in the wrong position with 24 hours notice. And you can't really blame him for coming to Burnley. I mean, he's playing in the Belgian league at the time. Vincent Kompany rings up and says, do you want to come and play in the Premier League? Of course he's going to take that. But then, as I say, dropped in at the deep end. Fails because he's dropped in at the deep end, and then never really got the chance to show what he was worth. And that was kind of the transfer business under Kompany. None of these players got the chance to show really what they were worth. The ones that we were kind of like going around panic buying like it was the end of supermarket sweep. I'll not even get onto Mike Trezor. But just to prove I don't throw this rubbish together, let's tie one player with the last 2 managers. Luca Koleosho. He joins, he looks incredibly exciting, he's bombing forward on the left wing, he's using his pace, he's raw, but you can see what is there, you can see why we bought him. I think it was only like 2 million from Espanyol, something like that. He's turning into a player that is very exciting under Kompany's system. He's attacking, he's fast, he's taking on his fullback. He looks like well, there was rumours of Wolves coming in at the time, 20 million, 40 million, whatever. But then he does his knee and he's out. By the time he recovers, Kompany has left. The Kompany system where Koleosho thrived was about attacking, taking on the winger, taking on the fullback, going to the byline. Scott Parker's system is not, and therefore he's running down blind alleys. He's not suiting the system. Parker doesn't like him. We have to ship him off on loan, first to Espanyol, now to Paris. What could have been is turning into, oh well, didn't pan out. And that's sometimes the fate in football. That's, sometimes for a player it's not so much what you do, it's what the club does, what the managers do, all that kind of thing. Football history is littered with what might have been, or players who are about to be discarded suddenly getting thrust in and growing and taking the limelight. Gareth Bale's probably the best example of that. But anyway, so Koleosho, he's off. But that's kind of how the players that we bought then don't suit the system now. But speaking of the system now, deep breath. 3-0 away at Sunderland, and it could have been worse. And the manager is blaming the transfer business. The manager is coming out, and I actually put this on Blue Sky when the final whistle went, or actually I think it was before the final whistle. I actually put out on Blue Sky, he's going to blame the transfer business. Of course he is. It's his fucking system. Of course he's going to blame the transfer business. Despite the fact that of the starting 11 and the bench, all but 2 were signed under his management. Those 2 being Esteve and Lyle Foster. So he can turn around and say, I haven't been given the players. Well, you've been given those players. And those players, I've said it before, are being failed by the system. How is it that against a team that was promoted last year, I know they're doing well, against a team that was promoted last year, we spend the entire game running around like headless chickens, having no idea, what do we start? 3 at the back this time? It was 5 at the back last week. It's going to be 4 at the back. Sod it, 6 at the back. Doesn't matter. We're still conceding goals. Is it the transfer business that has us going 2-0 down at half time and the substitution being Josh Laurent? Really? Not Broja. Not Fleming. Not £28 million of striker when you're 2-0 down. And then those £28 million worth of striker come on, playing your damn system, which gets us for the 4th Premier League game this season, not a single shot on target. And an XG, if you believe in that kind of thing, of 0.06. But it's the transfer business. Really. The recruitment has not been good. Okay? Well, actually, I don't know. I think the recruitment's been okay. Kyle Walker, yeah. Hardman, yeah. Remember when Hardman went up against Wolves, set up 2 goals for Zian Fleming by attacking, by going to the byline? Yeah, fell out with him, didn't you? Kyle Walker looked really, really good. Puts a cross in for Big Les against Leeds. Bombs down the wing, pulls it back for Chowner against Leeds. 2 goals. Attacking fullback. Been doing it for years at Man City. Doing it at Burnley. Coached that out of him, didn't you? Except for last week. We put that cross in for Tuanzebe. No, can't be having that. It's the transfer business. It's not the damn system, is it? It's not the manager. It's not the system. So many people are making excuses. Yeah, it's too hard to compete and blah, blah, blah. Right, I've said all season, it's not about whether we stay up. It's how we get relegated. And you see how we're getting relegated. Are these players being given a chance? No, absolutely not. And any time that they seem to be trying to take that chance, you stop them doing it. So many people are putting excuses out. It's ALK. Yeah, well, you're going to ALK for your own personal reasons. And for some people, those personal reasons are incredibly obvious why they are personal about ALK. But anyway, you're going at the recruitment. The recruitment has not been good. Scott Parker's been given £130 million worth of player over the last 2 years. In comparison to Company, I think Company got 160 mil. Difference being, Company had to effectively build an entire squad. And people are, by the way, building a squad. People are still trying to turn around and go, oh, the squad got sold out for under Parker at the start of last championship season, when 9 of that starting 11 actually ended the season. And it's all, and don't give me this, oh, what have you done for me lately? You're just being entitled. Entitled is one of those buzzwords that people throw around and they have no idea what they're fucking talking about. And there's a blog about that anyway at some point. Entitled, you're just being entitled. He got us 100 points last year. Yeah, how did he get us 100 points last year? Speaking of last year, this time last year, by the way, no shots on goal against Sunderland yesterday. This time last year, we had Leeds at home. And we were in third place and winning. How many shots on goal did we have? 0. How did we settle for that game? When we were winning, we set up for a draw. And then we went to Portsmouth, a newly promoted club, and drew 0-0. And then the game after that, we played Oxford, a newly promoted club out of League One. And how did we win that? 1-0, with an own goal. So it's not about, oh, it's so hard in the Premier League. The pattern of play, the style, the system is the same it was a year ago when we had 12 0-0 draws. Difference is we had better players, which meant we could overcome the handicap of the system. Now we're being shown that system for what it really is. A lot of it, basically, I don't know, it's not even made of straw. Well, made of straw, that's probably our defence. But our defence is doing what it can. Dubravka's doing what they can. But the plan, presumably, was to stay up with 38 consecutive 0-0 draws. And this is what you see when that plan doesn't work. Oh yeah, the other thing we were told. People were going after last week against Spurs. Parker's turned a corner. Look, we got a point against Man United and Liverpool and Spurs. You people who want to get rid of him, you don't know what you're talking about. See, it's working. This is what happens when you don't get away with it. Or as I was pointing out, we got lucky 3 times in a row. We got so lucky statistically. We failed the eye test. If the opposition had put 3 shots 6 inches lower, we would not have got those points. It was nothing to do with anything we did. We got away with it 3 games in a row. And last night, that's what not getting away with it looks like. And he's already making his statements, the similar kind of statements he made on the way out of Fulham and Bournemouth and blah, 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 blah. And it's just, we're just waiting for ALK to pull the trigger because he's not going to resign. We're just waiting for the board to pull the trigger, which should have happened in December. And then we start the merry-go-round again. It was kind of funny. I was going to talk purely about transfers, and then the performance was like that last night. And I got angry, and I'm still angry. Because what are we doing here? The board clearly don't have the faith in him. Oh, that's the other thing. The one guy we do bring in, he doesn't put on the pitch. For what? 0.06 XG against the team, 2-0 up, and took out his foot on the gas. And we did not put the one guy we did bring in, even just to give him some running in his legs. It's okay, we can save him for Saturday's game against West Ham. Oh, hang on a second, he's on loan from West Ham, isn't he? I'm going on Saturday. Why? Well, I'm a lunatic. I need my head examining. I'm going on Saturday. And he's going to set up for a 0-0. He's going to set up to not lose. When we're already, God knows how many points, I don't care how many points behind. How many we're going to have at the back? Doesn't matter because we're still going to have 2 in midfield. Get it completely overrun. Oh, well, we've got wing-backs. Yeah. We've got to play the only system where attacking wing-backs are not allowed to attack. Like I say, the recruitment has not been great, but the recruitment has been sufficient. Sufficient to have a go. The recruitment has been good enough. We've given the manager the players he wants, especially the attacking players he wants. Zian Fleming, Jadon Anthony, Parker knows Anthony, Parker knows Edwards. We went out and got Edwards. So you can't complain about the transfer business. And I know money rules, but like I say, there's an acceptable way to get relegated, and this is not it. But then I've been banging on about this for 18 months. I've used the Nostradamus thing, and I know I sound like a Cassandra. Oh, it's all going to go wrong, blah, 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 blah. What a waste. What a waste of everyone's time. That's the thing, it's wasting time. It's wasting people who went... I have so much sympathy for those people who went to Sunderland last night. To watch that. But the thing was, we kind of knew it was coming. We know that this is what it is every week. It's not a one-off bad performance. Okay, it was a bad performance, but it's not a one-off system performance, is it? The system is set up to fail. The game was over after 9 minutes because we conceded. And people are all saying, well, it could be worse. It could be the company season. You mean the company season where the naive had no idea how to defend, central defender who won titles at Manchester City and captained his country had no idea how to defend Vincent Kompany, had at this stage a more solid defence than Scott Parker has. Last year was a fluke. That's how he does it. 16 goals conceded all season is a fluke. Josh Brownhill scoring 18 goals is a fluke. This is how he does it. This is what happens when you don't actually have luck on your side, when you don't have those advantages. I can't wait for him to leave. I can't wait for him to leave. I'm going to the games for the rest of the season. Why? Because I paid for them. I've got a season ticket. I'm a Burnley fan. That's what you do. I can't wait for him to leave. And people go, well, who would you replace him with? I don't know. You know what? I don't care. I mean, you could go through the names, and the people who turn around and say, who would you replace him with, would knock all of those names down. But I'm going to throw someone out there. I think we should go for a guy who saved a team from relegation in French Ligue 1 and then went off to Japan and was runner-up in the J-League. I think we should get that guy in. And all those people who turn around and go, he's not a Burnley manager. Well done, you just turned down Arsene Wenger. Who had heard of Sean Dyche before he joined Burnley? Who had heard of Thomas Frank? Who had heard of Daniel Farke before he came to this country? Oliver Glasner, Fabio Herzler, David Wagner. Who's the guy at Middlesbrough? Hellberg? Who'd heard of any of these? But that's the thing. People go, ooh, what would you replace him with? And they've got a little tiny thing and it's all the names you already know, thinking that's the only managers that are out there in the world. Why does it have to be one of those? Why does it have to be a known quantity? Was Vincent Kompany top of anyone's list before we got him? Was it 2 seasons at Anderlecht? That's it? With Craig Bellamy as assistant? We were going, geez, what the hell? Turned out alright. Can't wait for him to leave. And I gotta watch every week. I gotta watch the same pathetic system. I gotta shout in frustration at players, and I don't want to shout in frustration out because they're only doing their job and they're only doing what they're told to do. 38 consecutive 0-0 draws. That's the plan? Really? You go away to a promoted side, a fellow promoted side, and you get 0.06 XG with £28 million worth of players that you only bring on after an hour because you've already used up a substitution with Josh Laurent. What a joke. What a joke. He knows the game's up. Everyone knows the game's up. This bit I don't blame him for. You know, he obviously you want to get sacked to get the payoff as opposed to resign. You want to negotiate your exit. I never ever will, criticise someone for that. But everyone knows the game's up. Everyone knows it's dead man walking. That team knows it's dead man walking. That performance last night shows it. And people are still going to try it out there and defend him online. Oh, the transfer recruitment. Oh, it's so difficult. Oh, it's ALK. Oh, it's a bunch of American Mormons. Why do you always mention it's American Mormons? Just out of interest. Why does it matter? Always have to bring the nationality into it. Always have to bring the religion into it. It's kind of weird, that. To me, it's just a white guy in a suit. People blame the owners. People online will blame the owners just to avoid being told, admit that they're wrong about the manager. To people like me who was fucking pointing it out 18 months ago. Oh, it's ALK's fault. 5.5 years ALK have been here. 3.5 of them being in the Premier League. Not bad going. Don't think it's their fault. They've spent, what did I say, 150 plus 130, so they've spent 280 million quid in transfers. That's a lot of money. They put a lot of money in. But yeah, any reason to not admit that you were wrong about Scott Parker. And maybe one person will come up to me at a game or something like that and say, I was wrong, but that's one of my favourite phrases. It's a long way for a train don't come. But anyway, let's move on to West Ham. And I don't think the Turf's going to be a pretty place to be if we go 1-0 down early. If we settle for a draw, for a 0-0, if we set up for a 0-0, I can't see... It doesn't feel like the Turf will be a particularly happy place at 5 o'clock. Who knows? I'll be there, because that's the deal. In the meantime, up the Clarets.